enough to be hanging backstage right now at the Metro Theatre with the one and only Mr. Timmy Trumpet. How are you tonight?
I'm very well, thank you for that lovely introduction.
Of course. Why wouldn't I be giving you a lovely introduction right now? You're looking very smart. Now, can you tell us what do we have in store? What do the kids have in store tonight?
Well, it's an all-ages event. I initially thought it was an under-18s. It's called Limitless, and it happens to be in my hometown, Sydney. So I actually don't even feel like I am working because I'm just home tonight. I get to sleep in my own bed and just to shower in my own shower, and then I'll leave it there.
How good is like the pillow, your own pillow? Oh.
It is. I mean, it needs a bit of a clean. I tend to drool sometimes, but
we all do. Your sets are always super energetic. Where do you get that energy and inspiration from?
It's a very good question. I think I get it. I'll be straight up and honest. I've just started meditation. There's this program called Transcendental Meditation. Russell Brand put me onto it. And I like to just sort of sit still, think about nothing. I guess you need to think about something to think about nothing. I don't know how to explain it, but basically you just sit there in utter silence and just, I don't know, afterwards I feel really energetic. I get on stage. I might even go crowd surfing tonight.
It's all about mindfulness. I love it. That's fantastic.
It's all in the mind.
Now, interaction with audiences. Can you tell me how much does that play a part in your creative process?
Look, it's not just my process. I think that any DJ needs to be able to read the crowd. So, you can't just go out there and expect to nail it. You have to prepare. You have to do a bit of research, like tonight's gig is an all ages gig. So, I've included, some more current music. That way I can interact with the current crowd. So yeah, to answer your question, that's one way. I also have these silly masks that people wear. They look similar to that, like my snapback, but it's just a mask. But yeah, my bro Chris came up with that idea. Who's here today?
Shout out to Chris.
Yeah. He's the other half of this. Really, I just play the trumpet. Should be called Chris Trumpet.
Now tell me, what is the weirdest thing you've ever seen behind the decks?
Yeah, these questions I always hate because I have to think of one specific weird thing. When I see weird things every single weekend, I mean, if you've been to clubs these days, I don't think I can honestly come up with one. I mean, it's just, and if I did tell you one, we'd have to delete the scene. I mean, there are so many weird things. Chris, do you know any weird? One of the weirdest things, I don't know, Ember?
They're just saying beep, 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 beep.
I love how sometimes I do radio interviews and they're like, oh, you give me 5 of the craziest places you would imagination would go roll to. And so you're like, what? I can't even think of one. There are a lot of weird things. I guess, okay, here's one. Playing with the Stafford brothers many, many years ago when they were basically just sort of touring Gold Coast and Sydney. Chris Stafford, one time, was so drunk he fell down onto the deck, like a CD deck. He fell down and the music just stopped. And instead of everyone getting angry, they cheered. They're like, woo! He was out. And back then I wasn't a DJ. I kind of just dragged him off and I was like, what button do I push? I didn't know. But that was kind of weird, I guess. I don't know.
Have they adopted you by now? Hello, you should be like the third part of their team.
You know what? This is partly my fault. I chose to go solo. When I said this, Matt Stafford, that's the one that looks like a girl with the long hair. He said, he goes, you're a Stafford brother. You stick with us. We stick together. And I was like, man, I'm happy to play with you. The festivals because we do future music. We're doing Stereosonic and all these things. But I said, I want to be a DJ. And he was like, no, man, you're one of us. And I go, well, what about if you manage me? And he's like, this is a great idea. Like this could work. And yeah, he's my manager now, so he gets a cut of all of my gigs.
No, he knows how to play it. That's the smart way.
He's a fantastic manager. I'm very lucky, and I'm still part of the family, and I get to play with them all the time. If you go into Future Music in 2014, I'll see you there. And I'm going to the US with them next year as well, and they're doing so well. I don't even know why I brought them up. Oh, that's right, the weird stories. Was that it? Yeah.
take me back to where it all started. What was the first time when you experienced a trumpet and you picked it up for the first time?
As long as I can remember. I was about 4 years old. My dad was a trumpeter, and so was his dad. I don't think they play with DJs, obviously, but they kind of... I actually wanted to learn the saxophone, and they said, no, we only have enough money for a trumpet, because it's my dad's hand-me-down. So he goes, so you're going to learn the trumpet. And you know what? It kind of works with the alliteration. I guess it worked out. I still have this thing where I want to learn the saxophone. It's bizarre. But look, it's working out, and to be able to mix it. I mean, I'm a jazz musician. I've been playing jazz for a long time. I was even touring the world with James Morrison and some other jazz artists when I was about 14. And I've been very, very lucky and very blessed to find that. And I guess now it's a bit different. It's not jazz, but it's still fun, you know?
Now, personally, what are some artists and DJs that you're digging at the moment?
Definitely Ember. He's a young guy from Sydney who he's like a DJ extraordinaire. I'd say he's probably the best DJ I've ever heard, you know, and I'm proud to say he's in this room right now. Ember, get over here! Cameo. Yeah. Dude, I'm going to need to double that. On a serious note, he actually is the best DJ in Sydney and Australia and possibly the universe. So
we'll book him in next, do an interview for sure.
For sure.
Now, also, can you let us know, how about some advice for all those musicians and aspiring DJs out there? Words of wisdom.
Do what you love in life. Always put what you love first. It's very important, and I was taught this from a young age. You can do anything you want if you really, really want it, and it's so true, you know, it really is. So if you love this, and if it's music you love, then put everything into it and just pursue that, because it's such a passionate, such a beautiful and amazing career. I love what I do.
Thank you so much for talking to the Clubz. We've got you a little gift. It's only something little. It's in there.
Are they lighters?
No.
Is this a trumpet necklace?
No,
oh
it's
my
not.
God, it's customized. Wow. Boom. I made it. You know what? I'm going to get rid of... I had an AK-47 before.
You can mix it up.
But this is great. Thank you very much.
No, thank you so
Thanks for having me.
much.
And thanks for your time, for having me on the show.
Awesome. Thank you.
Clubz.